Happy Tuesday, and welcome to the Rama from Satsang practice session, where you'll learn a modern Satsang method for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Eddie, and I will be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I'd like to give you a brief overview of this Satsang session. If you'll direct your attention towards the screen, you'll see your first element is Satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby we may obtain peace, light, and love in our life. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin its practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important part of Satsang. When we meditate, we withdraw consciousness from worldly objects and direct it inwards to focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, thereby allowing us to obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of satsang, inner satsang and outer satsang. An example of outer satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior. But only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The satsang that you will learn today is an inner satsang, where we meditate in silence. Group session. These practice sessions are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our personal progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these practice sessions, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul. But only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain a joyous state. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy, which we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The agenda for today consists of 3 sessions: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, you'll receive instructions on how to meditate, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you have the opportunity to ask questions, or there'll be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He's the grandson of Guru Maharaj, the founder of Ramashram Satsang. He was born into a satsang family where he experienced his family members obtain states of enlightenment and lead lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, facilitating satsangs. And during that time, he witnessed the positive effects that satsang could have on mankind. And upon arriving to the United States, along with his wife, he continued to facilitate satsangs for local satsangees. He has led teams of satsang members in translating important satsang literature into English and has worked tirelessly to make satsang more accessible to Western and English-speaking audiences. He currently travels throughout the United States, India, and England, facilitating satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
So happy Tuesday, everyone. Glad that we're here. I have a bit of, cold that, or infection that I, excuse me, I acquired on my visit to India. But, in a way, I'm charged up with the events that I attended there. As usual, satsang with, in India is like typically at least a couple of thousand people, so very charged up. And today, I think what I wanted to do while, so we discuss like what is satsang, and we have probably discussed some of this before. Today, I wanted to just go back and talk about where satsang leads us, and this I have taken from excuse me. I have taken from Guru Maharaj describing his guru, Dada Guru Maharaj, Lalaji Maharaj, who himself, not only he was a very accomplished guru, a self-realized person, his guru was a Sufi saint. So, this came from a different religion. So, when we say that, spirituality is kind of above religion. So the lineage of this satsang is actually, it exemplifies that. So when Guru Maharaj describes his guru, he talks about what we would call like Sahaj Samadhi, or a balance of. So we do see taglines like the balance of the body, mind, and soul. What does that look like? So if we go back to the three energies, we have talked about that, Sat, Raj, and Tam. So the positive energy, the negative energy, and then there is a blend. And all these three energies basically have an effect on our internal states. So hence, typically what we would see is that these energies affect our meditation, for example. Lots of times, at least initially, when you meditate, you feel very positive, very uplifted, energized, refreshed, and so on and so forth. And that is what meditation is supposed to do. But then there are phases in which you close your eyes and it's dark and it's very, it's almost the opposite impact of what initially a practitioner got used to. And in this process, and that's not the only state. There is a third state where you close your eyes and there is almost like a movie-like state where there is barrage of either scenarios or situations, even visions, and they're like almost nonstop. So when those two states come, my father used to say that people think that they have regressed and their meditation is not going good, but he emphasized that it's all part of the cleansing process, and where these phases are as important as the positive energy driven, uplifting experience. So going back to this self-realized state, or a Sahad Samadhi, which is the natural state of higher consciousness. So the way Guru Maharaj describes it is that this state doesn't mean that you're leaning on one side. Instead, it's the balance of body, mind, and soul. So three qualities which we just talked about, Sat, Raj, and Tam, were need to be placed in a balance, and that is when you actually conduct yourself the way you ought to. He writes that due to lack of time or some personal shortcomings, this balance gets disturbed. So we have to bring these qualities and powers back into equilibrium, and only then one can truly drive their lives in a fashion the way a self-realized or person or a person in Sahad Samadhi would do. So, and then he emphasizes that by neglecting our worldly responsibilities or our physical, health and well-being, you are, if you do that, you're not going to be doing a symmetrical progress towards spirituality. So, because a lot of, in India, like a lot of people would just get very, very focused on one end and, ignore the other. So that's what he was referring to there. So, and then he goes on to describe that in Gita, there is a discussion about one who remains identical in light and darkness, one who remains unattached and neutral in every circumstance. And, and when, so if there is light, you obviously, it feels great, and you're embodying this transcendental energy, feels uplifted and refreshed and energized and all that. But if that is not happening, when you just realize that, hey, it's Sat, Raj, or Tham that is having an effect, and hence, like other phases, this will, go away in due course. So why be so perturbed? So what he's saying here is that self-realized people understand that every circumstance or occurrence is just an expression of these three energies, and hence, not to get too bogged down with that. And since they remain neutral and unattached, they neither hate anything, nor does association with something perturb them. So inherent qualities of nature expresses them, and so it's basically the person who doesn't get perturbed or excited in times of losses or gains, praise or criticism, is, basically the person who is at that higher consciousness or self-realized. So he continues to describe these qualities, what he saw in his own guru, that such people have managed to rise above selfish mindset. Their life, body, knowledge, wealth, uh, physical and spiritual strength is for not just serving themselves, but serving others. Their effort and knowledge acquired um, is now being used to uplift others. Without caring about their own happiness or suffering, they remain engaged in service of people around them. They always strive to help misguided people, show them the correct path, make every effort, um, to take people towards the ocean of peace. So many accomplished um, saints. So he describes this a little bit here, that a lot of people take a pledge of service, but if there is some desire, worldly or otherwise, associated with that service, or there is an expectation of return, then that person is not really in that higher consciousness state. The person who is selfless, whose nature is to serve without desire for returns, the person who is not worried about their own discomfort, does not care whether they would end up in heaven or hell, but only remains, um, involved in doing good for others. That's the person who has attained that higher consciousness where this becomes second nature. Um, um, so then he quotes Gita, where the one who has encountered and realized their self, and hence, basically, we're talking about one has managed to unite with this transcendental energy. Such a yogi feels connected with everyone in the world. So it's not like the whole bias and prejudice goes away. So there is love for all, and at all times, indifference. So there is this empathy and love for everyone, but at the same time, there is this level of indifference because there is no attachment, or, so there is no one is an enemy, and, there is love, there is empathy, but there's no attachment, because attachment is where you have an expectation. So there are no, expectations here. In every situation, in every occurrence, such a person never loses that balance, and, peace and selflessness is what they stick to. And another thing he describes is that, when you start acting in a way that you are just an instrument of the transcendental energy rather than, your ego driving it. So that is another characteristics. There are three more points there. So one who has gotten rid of all desires and wishes, the one who is no longer perturbed by cravings related to the world or even the spiritual path or liberation, the one who has gotten rid of love and attachments of all things, that's the person. So it's like a, So all that describes a self-realized person. Always appears happy, has no anxiety about the future, even in a time of great adversity. Peace never leaves them. At peace in times of pain, suffering, happiness, joy, their life is characterized by stability and equilibrium. So the physical needs of the world, it's those needs are always there, but they would, for example, see the wealth and well-being of people around them, but so they remain aware of the objects of comfort, etc., but they are not inclined or desire some of these things. And so all this, what we described, Guru Maharaj, while he was talking in context of describing the state that, or the higher consciousness state that his guru used to act from, but he says these are the ways you would describe self-realized person. On that note, let's go back to the practice. So Yuan, if you could bring up, yeah, so thank you. So basically now we will practice a method that could potentially take us all to that state. Essentially what we're doing here is that we are in a way embodying transcendental energy, which just by doing that, we connect with this source of energy that is, I was kind of thinking about this. It's like if I was embodying energy that, is even beyond any power, any energy that I can fathom. And if I call that transcendental energy, and if I embody that, I have all that power. So to transform myself, I need to embody this transformational energy. That's what we'll do in this practice. That's what we'll practice now. So, basically, Ashtanga Yoga, as described by Maharishi Patanjali, describe 8 limbs of yoga, and 4 of those limbs are meditative practices. And this practice just, essentially focuses on those 4. And the expectation is that once you do these, do this practice, the other 4, like the physical well-being, you will be able to focus more on that because your mind is in better control. And your behavior, which is yama and niyama, which are the other 2. So the physical and breathing exercises and the behavioral aspects, which are the other 4 limbs, will you would be able to get better with those 4 as well if you focus more on the meditative aspects of yoga, which, I kind of refer that to as inner yoga. Focus on the inner yoga aspects first, and the rest would follow. So how do we do this? Basically, sit in a relaxed but still posture, because we want to concentrate our mind And there are, so anything that distracts our mind, we want to minimize. One is every time the body moves during meditation, it distracts our mind. Sensory input into through the eyes also distracts. So eyes lightly closed and still and relaxed posture. That basically helps the inward orientation. And then what do we want to concentrate on? So we want to manifest transcendental energy in form of light. So think of this transcendental energy in form of light right here, right now with us. And it's, in front of us, entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we're becoming one with this light. And when the mind wanders away, which it will naturally, just bring it back. So if you do other things like chanting mantras, breathing exercises, mindfulness, etc., you can do it before or after. While doing this meditation, we basically start with dharana, which is the manifestation aspect. So we are manifesting transcendental energy in form of light that's entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we're becoming completely and totally immersed in this light. We'll start with music that also helps concentration, and then the music fades away and we go into deep silent meditation, which is the core part of this practice. And that, if done right, in a few sessions, you would start getting to a deeper state. When in meditation, you go into deep silent meditation where the thoughts and who we are, where we are, and all that goes away. And if that state continues for some time, you get to states of higher consciousness called samadhi. So anyway, I'll repeat it again. So inward orientation, which is eyes lightly closed and still posture. And then you manifest this transcendental energy in form of light. It's right here, right now, with you, in front of you, and that it's entering your heart, distributing throughout your body. And every time your mind moves, just bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that transcendental energy in form of light is in front of you, entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you're becoming one with this light. Let's start now.
It's my pleasure to introduce the next individual whose journey with our organization spans from childhood to her early 20s. She is the eldest daughter of Mr. Sanjeev Kumar Ji, and as a dedicated member, she has actively participated in satsangs in both the United States and India. Her unique experiences and insights acquired from her involvement with Ram Ashram Satsang make her an invaluable asset to our community. Today, as she joins us, she embodies the spirit of commitment and growth that our organization cherishes. Let's give a warm welcome to Ms. Parul Kumar.
Thank you so much, Eddie. And thank you everyone for being here and taking the time out of your day to meditate and take time for yourself. I was thinking about everything my dad said. He brought up so many good points today. And the first point is something that's been really interesting to me, which is that this whole system was actually started by a Sufi saint and brought to our lineage from Sufism, which in and of itself means that this system transcends religion. And we've mentioned this before, but you know, going beyond religion and having, you know, I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with Sufism, which is a mystical side or mystical sect of Islam. And it was brought to our lineage of, you know, practicing Hinduism people. So a family practicing Hinduism. So this system in and of itself is based on a foundation of, you know, transcending past religion and understanding meditation and reaching enlightenment. And so, you know, I'm sure you guys have heard of Sufi poetry, which is all about the heart, and it's all about, you know, the universe and reaching beyond, you know, regular states of consciousness. And it's written in such beautiful ways, which, you know, reminded me about this poet, Rumi, which I'm sure you guys have heard of his poetry. And it reminded me of one of these quotes from his poetry, which is, "Only from the heart can you touch the sky." And that line is so beautiful. It says, "Only from the heart can you touch the sky." And I believe that's exactly what we're practicing here, which is that from this place of your heart, which is grounded in between, you know, last time I spoke about the root chakra and the crown chakra, the heart is that meeting point in between. And it's actually the place where we get to, you know, reach towards that place of enlightenment. And that's, you know, what my dad teaches here. And that's what Guru Maharaj taught us, is that when you focus on the heart, you can reach states of consciousness that, you know, you could never imagine. So on that note, I just wanted to say thank you guys for joining us. Dad, if you have any comments on that, feel free to expand on that.
No, if I'll open it up for others to comment. And Luz and Theru, Jeff, you know, glad to have you all here. And folks who are either new or somewhat new, Lee and Lindsay, any questions, comments, thoughts? Yeah, through the heart, you know, it kind of reminded me that, you know, someone had asked Guru Maharaj that, you know, when I meditate at the Agya chakra, which is right in the middle of the, in the forehead, in the middle of the eyes, you know, I find that to be easier than focusing on the heart. And he said that, you know, sometimes for some people that's true, but when you focus on the heart, it actually takes you farther, but doesn't show you that you have gone farther. So your humility and you build all this, you know, heart kind of represents all these qualities of empathy, kindness, love, and heart kind of just embodies all that. And people who focus on Agya Chakra, you know, get entangled in ego so very quickly because they feel that the power and the they see the progress, which none of those things show up here, which it makes it difficult. It's like, you know, I was reading someone, his name is Swami such and such. Guru Maharaj said that you don't have to change your name, you don't have to change your attire, you don't have to give up your family life. And it goes on and on. It's like he just says, be a normal person, but a normal person who's pursuing a higher consciousness in, you know, in a consistent and you know, it's that is priority one, but it doesn't have to be in a way that everything else has to be given up. So just thought I'll add that. Liz, you were quiet.
Oh, happy Tuesday. It's quite different to be here in the evening on a weeknight. It's for me anyway. I can see some differences between meditating at night on a weeknight and then meditating fresh on Saturday morning. But it was nonetheless very fruitful, as it always is.
So how is it different? It's you know, see, the thing is, like, if you typically look at mornings, you want to start with embodying this energy and charging yourself and go into the day charged up, right? But in the evening, you want to do pretty much like a cleansing, refreshing, and which is also as important, right? It's like if you have acquired some negativity and all of that, hey, it's time to clean that up.
True. I think it also eases, well, at least for me, it eases me into a more restful state. I am the type of person, I'm a workaholic and I'll work quite late. And so there should be a nice transition from the end of the work day or even just the end of the day to, you know, a transition into rest. And so I guess for me, the difference between a weeknight and a Saturday morning might be when I'm meditating in the evening, the day, all of the things that happen during the day are kind of like a weight that I don't know if it's distracting, but I'm tired actually. When you're meditating, you get in touch with your body, I think, a little bit more. And I realize, oh wow, I'm tired. Whereas on a Saturday morning, it's like fresh. There's nothing to be tired of because I've had my full sleep. It's daytime, so the sun affects, all of those things affect how your body responds. And so in that sense, but I guess I appreciate the transition to a restful state. It, like you said, kind of cleaning up. So, and I enjoyed your talk as well, and Parul's talk as well, and tying it into some of the things she had said last week. I liked what you had said about when one is performing good works, to always bear in mind the purpose. Like, it's not about the ego, but it's about the selfless act of doing it. I liked that a lot. So happy to join you.
Thank you. Good to see you after a while. Or after a few weeks, but it looked like a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. See that, and again, every time somebody talks, I just kind of connect it with something else fairly quickly. And one of my cousin had come from India, and he was in New Jersey, and um, so I asked him to come to DC, and we were planning a satsang here. So he was supposed to come late in the evening, and I said, maybe I can ask people to come and join us, but not have a meditation because you might be tired. And he said, no, meditation always refreshes me. So I'm like, it's a mindset. And that's how it ought to be. It's like effortless, and it ought to be refreshing always. So 24/7, whenever you do it, just, gradually it should become, so integrated that any time could be meditation time. So anyway. All right. On that note, so anything else, Parul or Eddie or Liz, you want to add? Well, that seems like a no. So, but anyway, it was a great, session. And as I said, I think very charged up from my visit to India, which always, the group sessions where, embody this energy. And when people are in hundreds or thousands, it's just phenomenal energy. So I hope you could feel that today. So thanks for joining, and hopefully we'll see you very soon. Have a good week ahead, and light, love, and peace be with you. So we'll be there Saturday.
Thanks. Good.
See you back. Bye.
Thank you, Sanjay. Good night, everyone.
Namaskar. Good night.